Moment of speech.
Hello, everybody. Boker Tov. Sheket b'vakasha. Okay, Boker Tov. Today's daf is Kuf Nun Daled 154. We pick up Chodesh Tov. Thank you. Good Tammuz. Okay, good. Almost 2.5 weeks before the 3 weeks. Okay. Anyway, we pick up with the Gemara on Kuf Nun Daled Aleph. Of Ha'ifluku Bachar Zimna. So we're a little ahead, but it's a big daf today. It starts with the word L'chaimo, about 10 lines down. And let me just sort of say what we're doing is looking at, I'm going to erase this, 2 ways of interpreting the debate in the Mishnah. The Mishnah had somebody who had written a star matana and now was walking around healthy. And it was a star matana, a gift of all of his property. And he was claiming normally a star matana would have in it a line that would signal whether it was a shchiv meira or a given as a shchiv meira or given as a healthy person. Katziv v'rami ba'arsei would be when the person was sick and lying in his bed, was what it would say by a shchiv meira. And by a healthy person, it would say it's like karavi mahalech al ragloi, as he was walking on his feet, as he was healthy. So it would tell you explicitly. This star said neither. Okay? And here he is, he's healthy, and he says, I gave it as a shchiv meira, and now I'm better, and give it back. It's void. And he gave all his nechasim. And the recipients said, no, you gave it as a bari. Okay, so the question is, who do you believe? All right, so this was the debate in the Mishnah. Rabbi Meir said, like, alav lahavi raya sheshchiv merahaya, alav lahavi raya sheshchiv merahaya, which basically means that we assume that it was a star bari. Okay, that's what we assume for Rabbi Meir. Okay, and the Chachamim say, Hamotzi mechavero alav haraya. Hamotzi mechavero alav haraya. They have to prove it, which means we assume that it was a star shchiv meira. Now, why should we do this? Okay, so you could have just said, like, maybe it's somewhat circumstantial, all right? Since it doesn't have anything specifically written in it, right, we're going to assume that without being otherwise specified, a star is a star bari, unless you signal that it's an exception of a shchiv meira. We could have said that, if it's all somebody giving away all of their gifts, all of their property, who gives away all of their property, maybe we'll assume it's a shchiv meira, or at least, right, this says at least a suffix. At least it's a suffix, and once it's a suffix, what type of a star it was, then hamotzi mechaver alav haraya. Okay, so that's one way, just based on like circumstantial. Okay, the Gemara suggests another interpretation. The Gemara, however, has two ways of interpreting this, neither of which is what I just said. Okay, and this is a debate of Rav Huna and Rav Chizda and Rabbi Bar Rav Huna. So Rav Huna says raya be'edim, that when you say you have to prove that you're a shchiv meira, or you have to prove that they have to prove that it was a star bari. They have to prove that it was, or he has to prove it was a star shchiv meira. He says that's with witnesses, and the way that this is explained by the Gemara is based on a question of. Probably should have moved this over. I don't have enough room here to exploit it. I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, the way this is explained in the Gemara is that this is Rav Huna. Okay, Rav Huna says basically that it's based on the question of what his state is now. This is what the Gemara titled it yesterday, is what we assume his state was when he wrote the star. Okay, so that explains Rabbi Meir, since now he's healthy, it's assumed that he was healthy when he wrote it. It's a healthy star. Okay, that's what Rav Meir is based on, and therefore to prove otherwise, they need to bring, to prove it was a shchiv meira, he would have to bring witnesses with edim that he was a shchiv meira. Whereas the Chachamim say they don't go from now, they don't retroject. So since they don't retroject, they basically just say, no, it's a suffix, and since it's a suffix, it's hamotzi mechaver alav haraya, and therefore, if they want to prove it, they would have to prove with witnesses that it was a star shchiv meira. Okay, so anyway, that's okay. It's pretty straightforward. That meaning basically the question revolves around what do you assume? Do you assume he was healthy, Or do you assume that he was a shchiv meirah when it was written? Rabbi Meir says, I'm going to assume he was healthy because now he's healthy. And the Chachamim saying, like, no, it remains a suffix. So if the one who's motzi mechaver has to prove it. Fine. That's one way of explaining it. Okay? Not based on the fact about that the star should have said otherwise or whatever, just on the fact that now he's healthy. Okay? But the other approach of Rav Chizda and Rabbi Barafuna, Rav Chizda and Rabbi Barafuna says Ra'aya B'kiyum Hashtar. What does that mean? So what they are saying is like this. When this says that Hamotzi Mechaver Olav Haraya, it does not mean, here's the big point. They do not have to prove he does not have to, this is where I get confused. They're coming to be motzi from him, so they have to prove that it was a shtar bari, okay? Right, that's what they're saying. If they want to win, they would have to prove that he's, so you see, I got it wrong here as well, okay? They are saying that we presume it's a shtar shchiv mirah. So to win, okay, so it's a suffix, in order for the recipients to win, they would have to prove with witnesses that it was a shtar bari. Okay, that it was a shtar bari, right? Okay, so that's what Rabbi Meir says. We're going to assume it's a shchiv mirah. For them to win, they would have to prove with witnesses that it's a shtar bari. Okay, what?
You just said Rabbi Meir.
I'm sorry. This is the Chachamim. What do you mean? No, Rabbi. This is Rav Huna explaining the Chachamim or explaining Rabbi Meir. Right, this is the debate of Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim. So did I say that wrong?
You just said Rabbi Meir.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chachamim. Okay, so Rabbi Meir assumes it's a healthy star, and because now he's healthy, and to win, they would have to prove with witness. For him to win, okay, for the giver to win, he would have to prove with witnesses that he was a shchiv mirah, that he was shchiv mirah. Okay, we assume it's a healthy star, and for the giver to win, the gifter to win, not the gifter that way. Anyway, the gifter to win, he'd have to prove with witnesses that he was a shchiv mirah. Right? Alav lahaviraya. As opposed to here, as opposed to the Chachamim, according to this, says it's a suffix. So we're going to assume, because it's a suffix, we're going to assume shchiv mirah. And for the recipient to win, they'd have to prove with witnesses that he was a bari. Okay? That's that. All right? So that helps to clarify. Now, what they're saying is very different. They are saying, no. All they have to do to win is they don't have to prove with witnesses it was a bari. For the recipients to win, what they have to do is they have to just be mikayem hashtar. Just validate the signatures. And once they validate the signatures, okay, they're automatically going to win. Okay? So it's not raya be'edin, it's raya be'kiyum hashtar. Now, wait. Why is it enough, if it starts off the fact that it's like a suffix or whatever, why the fact that they've now validated a star, is that enough to show that it was a star bari? Why is that enough to show that he's going to win? So according to them, what this side really holds is that your claim that you were a shchiv mirah, that's what the person who gifted it wants to say, that he was a shchiv mirah, fundamentally is not believed, okay? The claim of shchiv mirah has no intrinsic weight. It would only be believed because the star on the other side is not validated. And since the star is not validated, the same way I could say the star is a forgery and you would not be accepted until you were validated the witnesses, I'm also believed to say, like amigo, I could say it's a forgery. I'm believed to say I was a shchiv mirah. Okay, but it starts with the fact the shchiv mirah claim is fundamentally not believed. All right, and therefore the only claim that I was, right, what I'm trying to say is I'm a shchiv mirah. Okay, believe me. That's only believable because it's believe me because I could say that it's mezuyaf, that it's a forgery. Okay, so it doesn't start with any believability. It doesn't even create a suffix. If I have a validated star that it was gifted to me, right? Then you're not believed to say you were a shchiv meira. I have a valid star that says that it was given to me. It's like if I have a valid star that says you owe me $100, you're not believed to say you paid me. Okay, so if I have a valid star, this is like the simple point. If there's nothing written in the star, we assume it was a star, that it was a star bari, that it was not a special exception. So if I have a valid star, you are not believed to claim. So therefore, why there? So this position, right, that says, let's start here. This position that says that it is that it's a star bari, your claim doesn't work. Okay, why doesn't it work? Can't you claim? Shouldn't you at least be believed because you could say it's mezuyaf, right? So this is the point: is no. Modeh b'star sheksavo. If you admit it was written, ein tzarich l'kaimo. Then it saves me the need of validating it. Now, how does that still answer the point that you have? That you have amigo, right? You could say, I could have just said it was mezuyaf. Okay, so the best explanation, the easiest way I have to understand the side that says, as soon as you admit it, you don't have amigo and I don't have to be mekayim it. What does that mean? Ein tzarich l'kaimo is, the way I explained this yesterday, is that the rabbis, a star starts by being signed witnesses. The Gemara says in Gittin and elsewhere that midoraisa you don't have to validate the signatures. The rabbis require the signatures. The signatures to be validated. Doraisa we would assume that a signed star is total eidos kamisha nechrejus beveisten. So one way to explain that is it doesn't start off being it's not a validated star. It's not yet acceptable. We have to validate it. No, it starts off by saying it's a star with witnesses. It's 100% ironclad star, and it remains ironclad, and it doesn't even require validation until it's challenged. But if it's nobody ever raises the possibility and challenges it, it says it's forged. Chas v'shalom that we would think it's forged. Okay, so you don't have amigo. You could have said it was mezuyaf, right? Because right now it does not require validation. Right now, it is 100% valid star, and you are not believed to say, the same way you're not believed to say you paid it off, if it was a star of debt, you're not believed to say that you were a shchiv neira, okay? Because right now, until you actually, in fact, claim mezuyaf, it is 100% uncontestable star, okay? So according to this, because the star is valid, because the star is right now 100% valid, okay, therefore it is you're not believed to say shchiv meira.
Therefore, you have to bring a raya that you were.
So if you want to bring, you have to bring. You're not believed to say shchiv meira. Okay, so this is saying that the star is 100% valid, and you're not believed to say it's a shchiv meira, and therefore it's a star bari. Right? Remember that's what the name says. It's a star bari. Right? Whereas here, what they're saying is like this. No, even though you admitted that it was valid, and you're saying it was a shchiv meira, right? So without kiyum, because modeh b'shar shekasfo tzarich l'kaimo, okay, so that tzarich l'kaimo. Kiyum would be you get witnesses to say that it's their signatures.
But it doesn't say shchiv meira on the contract.
It doesn't matter because once it has kiyum and once it's 100% valid star, then the same way if a star says you owe me $100, you're not believed to say you pay, even though maybe you did pay. But that's going against the simple testimony of the star. Right. The default is that it's a star bari. Exactly.
So how does the kiyum change it to a star shchiv meira?
It doesn't. No, the absence of kiyum allows the claim of shchiv meira because I could have said it was a mezuyah. Right. So alav haraya means here. Let me say it this way: as long as there's no kiyum, okay. As long as there's no kiyum, the shchiv meira claim is believed, right? Because of migo. Because of migo mezuyaf, right? You got that? So if you want to block my shchiv meira claim, there's nothing intrinsically that's believable about it. A simple star is assumed to be a star bari, okay? But because you could say mezuyaf, you're believed to say you were shchiv meira. If you want to block it, just be mekayim the star, okay? You don't have to prove that I was a bari. Just prove that make it a star that you cannot challenge by saying mezuyaf, and then the claim of shchiv meira is no longer believed. Yes.
My question is that really, according to Chisda and Rahuna, there's nothing to do with being shchiv meira or not. There's just general rules of shtarot. So this is
correct, which is what the Gemara is going to get to.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So they didn't have to debate exactly. Okay. So here, though, is the thing to focus on. This position says the star right now, without you're actually saying it's mezuyaf, is 100% valid. Since it's 100% valid, you're not believed to say shchiv meira. Okay, both agree that fundamentally you're not believed to say shchiv meira. The only way you'd be believed is because you could have, maybe with the idea that, because I could have challenged it. This says, I don't care whether you could have challenged it. Right now, you haven't challenged it. It's a straight star. A straight star is a star bar. This it says, no. If you haven't challenged it, you still could say migo de mizuyaf. Okay? So the shchiv meira claim is believed because of migo de mizuyaf. Okay, but to win, just remove the mizuyaf, remove the mizuyaf opportunity. And once you can no longer claim it's mizuyaf, then the shchiv meira claim is no longer believed. Yes.
You don't need a star for shchiv meira.
No, but you have one. Okay.
So if you're going to do a shchiv meira, don't write a star.
Right, by writing a star. I mean, writing a star is nice if you wind up dying, and then it makes sure that your words are fulfilled. Right. It could be problematic if you don't wind up dying, and then the other person wants to claim against you. But all you have to do is write in the star that it was written as a shchiv meira. Okay, so that's where we were yesterday. All right, so now the Gemara says like this. So the Gemara says, "If lagu," so it starts with the word lekaimo. It's about 10 lines down, and the Gemara says like this. But 1 minute, according to that version, that's the debate of Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim, you can't say that because you could say it, but it's redundant because Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim argued elsewhere this issue about moda b'shtar sheksavo. The time we taught in Brisa, einamanim leposlo diva Rabbi Meir. So if witnesses come and say, yes, this is our signature. Okay, basically, here's the case. Okay. Here's Reuven. Reuven is holding a star, and he says, "You owe me $100." Okay, that's what he says to Shimon. Shimon says, "Yes, I borrowed it," but he says, "Parati, I paid it." Okay. Now, the normal principle is, as we said, you're not believed to say you paid against the star. Okay, but is this a star mekuyam or not mekuyam? So here it's got those witnesses. So he says, I paid you off. Go validate those witnesses. So here comes the witnesses, thing 1 and thing 2. Okay. Everybody remember their Dr. Seuss? Thing 1 and thing 2. Okay. And they basically say, yes, those are our signatures. Okay. But when we signed them, Tanim Hayinu, Psulayedus Hayinu, okay, they are our signatures, but they're invalid. So they're essentially peshas or peshahitir. Their own statement of validating their signatures, they negated their own validation. Okay, so assuming that means that it's an unvalidated star. So is he believed to say parati against an unvalidated star? Okay, so this is the debate. One says he is believed because he could just say it's mizuyaf, and they have not been makayim it. That's not considered a kiyum. So since he could say mizuyaf, he's believed to say parati. And the other says no, as long as he does not actually claim mizuyaf, it is considered to be 100% ironclad star. If he claims mizuyaf, will have to be makayim. But until that, it's 100% witnesses. These guys just throw him out. They completely sort of neutralize their testimony, and therefore he's not believed to say parati. So this is the question of he is moda b'shtar sheksavo. He admits that the star was written. But can he still demand kiyum? And can he still prevent the star from operating in the absence of kiyum?
What does it mean when a witness says they're my signatures, but they're not valid?
What? Well, that means that they have peshasa. They've neutralized their act of kiyum star. They're not believed to say they were forced, but they're also not, meaning the testimony cancels itself out. Okay? I mean, it's effectively like they did nothing. Okay? So now the Gemara says like this. Okay? So the Tanya Einamarim leposlo di Rav Meir. Rav Meir says they've not invalidated this star. This star is still good. He can't say parati. Why? Because Rav Meir says that until it actually is claimed the mizuyaf, it remains 100% good. The star is 100% valid, as long as there's not an actual claim of ziyuf. So no claim of parati is believed, and no claim of shchiv meira is believed against it. Okay, that's what Rabbi Meir says. But Chachamim omrim ne'emanim. No, they're believed, but the way the Gemara explains, it's not as much as that they're believed. It's confusing because there's 2 pesha asas here. But the point is, since it's not mekuyim, he's believed. Okay, that you are believed with your various claims against the star and mekuyim. So he's believed here, and here the claim that he was a shchiv meira is believed against a star that's not mekuyim. All right. So the Gemara says stricha. No, you need to tell me the debate in both places. The marhahi. If you just said this debate, but he kami rabbanon mishum alimi edim umare shtara. This is sort of like what David was saying. Is that are the edim just completely here neutral, or actually? Since the eight, I mean, are they like, have they completely just neutralize themselves, cancel themselves out? Maybe the fact that they're actively saying, K'tanim hayinu psule edus hayinu, is you don't need him to say it's mezuyaf. That itself, right, it's not just like, okay, you've neutralized yourself, get out of here, you said nothing. That itself makes the shtar really like, a big stigma on the shtar, really questionable. So in that type of a shtar, right, that's where the Chachamim say that he's believed to say parati. Okay, that's a shtar that really is like has been injured. Okay, they're strong enough and they have weakened the shtar. But here, when he says shchiv meira, he's not believed. The shtar is okay. It's not validated, but it hasn't been questioned. The validity of the witnesses. Okay, so in our shtar, maybe everybody would agree the shchiv meira claim is not believed, that it's a valid shtar, and no claim works against it until you actually challenge it as being forged. Okay, emelo. Maybe in that case, the Rabbanan would say the shchiv meira claim is not believed. Okay, which makes sense. V'itmar Baha, had we just said our case of the shchiv meira, Baha kamer Reb Meir. In our case of the shchiv meira, maybe that's what Rabbi Meir says the shtar is 100% valid and it's not believed because nothing has challenged the shtar. Okay, Ava Bahi, but Ava Bahach, in this case, maybe he agrees to the rabbis because the witnesses' claim of Katan Edus weakens the shtar, and maybe in this claim, a claim of Parati would be believed. So Kamash, so Tzricha, you need both cases. Okay, so basically the point is this case is different because their active claim of Katani Maginu itself weakens the shtar. So there's more reason here to say that the Parati is believed. But the point is they argue in both cases. In both cases, Rabbi Meir says, even in this case, the shtar could have been seen as weakened until an actual claim of forgery is raised. The shtar is 100% valid and Parati is not believed. Okay? And in this case, the Chachamim say, even though the shtar hasn't been weakened, even though the shtar hasn't been weakened, the shchiv meira claim is believed. Okay, that the gnigo always exists. A non-mekuyim shtar claims will work against a non-mekuyim shtar. Okay, so that's that debate, and really has nothing to do with shchiv meira per se. Now the Gemara says like this. Okay, Rabba said not like this. This explanation, he said like Rav Huna, Raya be'edim. Okay, that basically it's here we assume it was healthy. Just maybe I'll try to simplify. Okay, you assume a normal shtar is healthy, and if you want to win, you have to prove otherwise. To win, you have to prove otherwise with witnesses. Okay, with witnesses. This approach says we assume nothing. It's a suffix. Okay, which means that we're going to raise the possibility, meaning it's possible shchiv meira. Right? Well, Kibbur Mochiach Alav was a different aspect. When the guy died, here the guy's healthy.
Same guy.
No, it's a different case. That was a guy that the guy died, and the question was, did he get better in the middle? Oh, it's the same Rabbi. It's the same type of idea, which is, yes, why the Gemara connects it to the Rabbi Nosson before. Okay? And in this case, in order to win, you have to prove that he was healthy. Okay, prove otherwise, prove shchiv meira. Okay, so basically, it's a simple question of: do you assume it's a healthy shtar, prove otherwise, or do you assume it's a suffix or a possible shchiv meira, and then it's proved in the opposite direction? Right. Okay. Well, this is what we assume, and this is if you want to win, prove otherwise. Okay. So that's a more simpler issue than this whole kiyum shtar thing. Okay. Amar Rabba Rai be'edim. Abaye, my timer. Why are you saying that? Right, and Eli correctly points us to the fact that Rabba and Abaye had a very parallel debate earlier in the Gemara as well. And how much do we take the current state and presume it's about the past? How much do we assume it's a suffix? Okay, I'm going to buy my time. If it's because all stars are written in it, when he was walking healthy in the marketplace, and it's not written, meaning why do you assume it's a suffix? right? His basic reasonable point is we should just assume that a star without anything written in it is a healthy star, right? We should assume like Rabbi Meir, right? Why would he assume that a star without anything particular written in it could possibly be a Shchiv Meirah? So he says, if you're going to assume it might be a Shchiv Meirah because it doesn't have the classic line that we have for a healthy star, so he says, it must be a Shchiv Meirah. So Adarabah, say the opposite. Since most of them, all other stars of Shchiv Meirah say when the guy was sick and lying in bed, it's not written. So it's a bari. So what makes you say that you have to, why should we assume he's a possible Shchiv Meirah? What's the logic behind that? We should just go like this. He's healthy now. The default star is healthy. What is the logic of the Chachamim to assume that's a possible Shchiv Meirah that you'd have to prove otherwise?
You said he doesn't say there's either.
So that's what the Gemara says. But he's obviously assuming that if there's no indication of Shchiv Meirah, we should just default and assume healthy. Okay, and the answer is no. The answer is okay, it doesn't have either line written in it. Both are possibilities. I'm not saying it's definitely a Shchiv Meirah. I'm saying it's possibly a Shchiv Meirah. You're right. Should the default be healthy? He's now healthy, fine. But there's still the possibility it's a Shchiv Meirah and a Motzi Mechaver Lavaraya. Okay, and that's what this is. This side assumes healthy. This side assumes it's a suffix and a Motzi Mechaver Lavaraya. Okay, Ubepluksa. Now, this debate of Rav Huna on one side and Rav Chiz and Rabbi Rav Huna on the other side is also debate of Amoraim from Eretz Yisrael. Okay, Ubepluksa. The Rabbi Yochanan Amaraya be'edim that it's not a question of a kima star. The question is by default, do we assume it's a healthy star or do we assume it's a suffix? Reb Shimon Lakish Amaraya be'kima star. No, we assume it's a healthy star, and the question is, do you need to be Mekayim? Okay, but if it's a completely valid star, the claim of Shchiv Meirah is rejected. The only point is it's not a Mekuyim star, and you need to be Mekayim it. Okay, so Eser Reb Yochanan Reb Shimon Lakish. Now Reb Yochanan challenges Reb Shimon Lakish. Ma'aseh b'Bnei Brak. A story in Bnei Brak. Take a look at the Rashbam, 6 lines from the bottom, end of the line. He says b'Bnei Brak Mako. So, in case you didn't realize that Bnei Brak was a place, he's telling you it's a place. What? Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Anyway, all right. So, story in Bnei Brak. A certain person sold in his father's property. Now, apparently, the father died, and it was brothers who had the estate. And this person sold his father's property. Umet. And then he died. And the question was he an adult when he sold it or not? Now, you might think the question is, was he bar mitzvah, right? Is that the age? But actually, there's going to be a claim that when it comes to selling land in a father's estate or whatever, the Chazal might have said that we're going to protect, whatever the brothers or whatever it might be, the importance of selling land, you're going to have to be 20 years old in order to be a valid sale. So we're going to see some of that discussion. So the question was he of a sufficient age to sell the land, either 13 or 20? Okay? Umate, and he died. So the family members came and said he was a minor when he died, and the sale wasn't valid. And give us back. Here's your money back. Give us back the land. Okay. B'sholos Rabbi Akiva.
I'm sorry. Who was it? The Katan was a person selling it.
Selling it. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Who died? Our brother who died, who sold land from our father's estate, was a minor when he sold it. Okay, it's not a valid sale. Here's your money back. Give us back our land. Okay.
Can they claim this like many years later?
Well, yeah. Well, it seems it was soon afterwards, but let's see where this goes. They came and asked Rabbi Akiva, can we go ahead and disinter him, dig him up, and check his bodily signs to see if he was a minor or not? Now, this is very important because I will discuss this more tomorrow. But the famous tshuva of the Nodeb Yehuda against autopsies and so on, and that it's like a nivel hameis, etc. From this Gemara, we are about to see that the threshold for nivel hameis, like it might have been allowed in order to prove a monetary debate, so this whole issue around, like, I mean, some people think like there's a huge taboo around autopsies, but there actually are many circumstances in which poskim will allow it, because we'll see right now in this Gemara where it might have been allowed. Okay, so this is very important for as a source. I mean, Rabbi, the Rabbi Yehuda quotes it as a basis for saying autopsies are.
Would you call this an autopsy?
Well, okay, they didn't actually cut the body up; they just disinterred it. So you could say exhumed it. They could say there's a difference of degree. Okay, but nevertheless, this becomes a major source for that discussion, a major locus for that discussion. Okay, so they said, can we dig him up to show that he was a minor? And he said to them, you are not allowed to, that's the nivel hamet, right? You are now to do something that would be
against all.
I understand. Let's see where the Gemara goes. Okay. And anyway, there's only a monetary issue. Okay. You're not allowed to, what was a good translation of nivul, to defile. Okay. What? Disgrace, defile. Okay. And number two, wouldn't have proven anything anyway, because right now the way the body looks can't prove the way the body looked when it was alive. So it won't even prove your case one way or the other. Okay. So now the question is, who had the burden of proof? So let's take a look.
Does it make difference, like Achlu Shnei Chazaka or something like that? Come back to our
he had a star. Now, according to me, I say that, in cases where, now the point is he has a star, right? So the idea here is the same way a default star is a star bari, until you can prove otherwise. A default star is that the person who sold it was in a position to sell it, was an adult and was in a position to tell it. Is the phrase the Gemara uses later. The witnesses wouldn't sign it, we assume, unless the parties were adults and fit to do it.
So it doesn't say star here, which really needs a star. Right?
Correct. Well, it was a sale of land. Correct. So So the same way here, there's a presumption of a healthy star until you can prove otherwise with witnesses, right? I hear it makes the same sense. It was a presumption of a legitimate sale until it could be proven otherwise with witnesses. Okay. Now, the problem is that works for Rabbi Meir, right? How does it work for the Chachamim? We would want it to go like the Chachamim. Okay. And the Chachamim say that it's like a suffix, right? If he claims a shchid mirah. So why here too? They should claim ketanim. Why shouldn't that sort of be similar to a suffix? Okay. So the Rashbam says that this is, as you take a look at the Rashbam, he says, okay, so no, that's not one minute. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. I apologize. The Rashba, at this stage, we're assuming, I said that the Yorshim were the one who were coming to try to prove their case and take it away from the people with the star, right? That's right. But actually, what we're assuming right now, Rabbi Yochanan is assuming, is the opposite. The people with the star are trying to take the property away from the Yarshim, and the Yarshim are refusing to give the property and are saying, we don't have to give the property. We're claiming our son, our brother was a minor. Okay, so it's the opposite. He's reading it as Hamotz Mechavel of Raya, because it's not clear, right? Who do we assume when the case, it really sounds more that if the case wasn't proven, it sounds like the Yarshim needed to prove their case, and if they weren't going to prove it, they were going to lose. But he's reading it that, no, the Lekuchos had to prove their case, and if the Kuchos couldn't prove it, they were going to lose. So that's a case that's, yes, they have a star, but the Yoshim are making a claim that he was a minor, and they have to go ahead and prove their case. Okay? So, right? It's actually explicit here in the Gemara. Since the Yoshim say the Lekuchos, Aisu Edim, go prove that he was a minor, the same way, the low ashkoch, and they can't, so then it was, because he assumes also that it was the Lekuchos, right? That's what's not clear about it. Who wanted to disinter the body? So he is assuming that it was like maybe, I don't know, he's assuming the brothers would never want to do this to their brother. So he's assuming it's the Lekuchos that want to disinter the body. So that's how he reads the case, okay? So he says, look, they've got a star, but the same way here, yes, you've got a star, but I'm claiming shchid mirah, hamotzi mechaver lavaraya. They've got a star. They're claiming he was a minor, and the Lekuchos are trying to disinter the body. So that's that parallel. Okay? But according to you, that Marta Raya became Hashtar, that it's sufficient to just validate the star, and then any claim that he was a minor or whatever is not going to win, right? That's the parallel, right? So this approach says once the star is mekuyim, a claim of shchi meira won't win. So by parallel, assuming that it's comparable, a claim of that he was a minor wouldn't win. Okay, so lamalu lebodko. Why are they trying to do something as complicated as disinterring the body, and then when they can't do it, they're going to lose? Let them just do a kiyum ashtar. Okay, so you understand. So here, right? That's the parallel. This approach says once you have a mekuyim shtar, claims of shchiv mirah won't win, even though it has the effect, because it's an effect that undermines the validity of the star, even though it's not challenging directly the kiyum. So it's a similar thing here. The claim is he was a minor. That's like claiming it was a shchiv mirah. Okay, so according to this approach, all you would have to do would be mekayim the star. But according to me, I actually say a claim of shchiv mirah works against a valid star. And a claim that he was a minor would also work. And then you would still have to go ahead, and you would have to prove with witnesses. And therefore, if they didn't have witnesses, they were trying to actually, exhume the body. But according to you, just make it a valid star, and those other claims fall away.
So why would you believe to say that he was a minor? That's an unusual case.
What? Well, let's say, why do you believe to say it's a shchimera? This approach seems to feel, right, that it's that as long as,
So I can automatically believe to undermine everything you do. It'll say you're a katan, or
I understand. Right. I mean, it's a good question in the sense of why are those claims and could you say maybe the guy wasn't you're right. I mean, that we haven't explored yet, right? Why is there enough of a suffix here? Why don't we just say a stam star means that it was a bari? Right? Why don't we say a stam? Certainly a stam star should mean that the kid wasn't a minor, right? I understand. So I don't know the real answer to that. Michael's asking the right question. According to this, if you say, even with the mekuyim star, shchi meira claim is believed, what range of claims are believed against the mekuyim star? Saying that you paid off a debt isn't believed, right? So, but shchi meira is. Minor is believed. Let's say the guy had a gun to his head, and that's why he did it. I don't know. A million of it, right? So it's a good question, but we're going to bracket that for now. Okay? But he says, at least for me, I get it. Those types of claims could work against a mekuyim star, and they would need it to prove their case. But according to you, just be mekayim the star, and all those other claims fall away. All right? So the Gemara says, be savris. So the answer is, and this is what I was jumping ahead. So Rish Lakish answers back. No, you misread it. It's not like the heirs are holding on to it, and the lekuchos have to prove their case, right? And then you're saying to me, once it's a mekuyim star, then that should be sufficient. No, the ka'asu lekuchos ma'ari, and the kuchos are trying to go ahead and challenge and prove their case. Then your claim to me was just be mekayim the star, and all the counter claims will fall away. That's not the truth. That's not the case. Nichse b'cheskas lekuchos kaimi. No, it actually works perfectly for me. They have a mekuyim star. They won the case. They're holding on to the property so it's exactly consistent with me. And it's the heirs who want to come ahead and challenge it. So their challenge against the mekuyim star does nothing, and the only way they can win is to actually prove that their brother was a minor. All right, now the Gemara says, "Hachinami mistavra." That makes sense. When he said to them, "You're not allowed to desecrate the body," the ishtaku, and they were silent. It was a bnei mishpacha who says, "Hey, we want to prove he was a minor. Let's dig up the body." There he was able to silence him. Says, "What? You want to do that to your brother?" So that was able to shame them into not pushing their claim. But if it was Lukuchos who was saying, no, we're going to prove he was a gadol, so am I shatku? Why? What? What do you mean? If Rabbi Akiva, who's going to talk up against Rabbi Akiva, but anyway, but no, they shouldn't have said, hey, you're not allowed to desecrate. Let them say back to him, no, we paid good money. Linvo. What do we care if his body is desecrated? Okay, we have our money at stake. So this is like the fact that the Gemara seems that, once here, that on the other side of Nivel HaMeis is that they're going to lose out their money, right? And by the way, they're not really going to lose out their money. They're going to get their money back. They're just not going to get what they bought for their money, their land, and that would still justify Nivel HaMeis. That really raises questions about what threshold would you need for something like an autopsy, right? So this is one of the sort of central locations, or the central, about this question of Nivel HaMeis and what would justify it. Now, so why does the Gemara assume that the Lekuchos have more of a right to be menavel the body than the heirs. So Tosfos makes 2 points. One is because the heirs did not pay any money, right? The heirs just inherited the estate. Okay, so therefore, even though they want their property back, they want and so on, and they give them money, it's sort of like it's seen as they have sort of less of a legitimate claim of what they're losing. They're losing the property that they inherited, but it's not property that they bought. They didn't exert any effort to get it, and so on. Okay, and again, they're going to get their money back. So I mean, they have the money for it. Okay, whereas these guys, they actually went and they put out the effort and they bought it and they paid money for it. So therefore, that gives a little more weight to their claim. And the other point is, they're not his brothers. So they're not, if it was a halachic principle that no nivel and mace is not allowed because of the mace, who cares if the brothers are not the brothers? But if it's like he's shaming them, that how could you think to sort of desecrate the body, that's a claim that would work against brothers and not against strangers. A third way of saying it is that maybe somehow the responsibilities of kavod hameid are specifically responsibilities on the family members and not on strangers. So that's interesting. Could there really be halachically a difference of the parameters of nivel hameis for family members as opposed to for non-family members? Okay, but anyway, this Gemara is very important for that discussion and for issues of autopsy. But the point is that the claim here is that he's saying, Reish Lakish is saying, no, they have a mekuyim shtar, they won the case. The claim that our brother was a katan is not believed, and they're the ones that are trying to prove it's a katan, not the way you Reb Yochanan read it. Okay, I'm reading it that actually because of their kiyum shtar they won. Reb Yochanan read it the opposite. Even with the kiyum shtar they didn't win because of the claim of katan. Okay, and that's the question about whether claim like shchimir or katan or whatever is believed against the mekuyim shtar. Yes.
Didn't we give some precedence to Yerusha conceptually, as opposed to we're saying here because the people who bought it put out more effort? But the people inheriting, isn't there some special quality about inheritance and passing on?
Yeah, it's true, but that's to not to do something that prevents it from being inherited in the first place. Here it was inherited, and then the question, well, actually it wasn't because it was sold. I hear the point. It's a little different. I mean, here you're not sort of preventing inheritance altogether. It's just on this one plot of land, and they're inheriting the money that the brother got rather than the. I hear the point, but it's not the exact same. All right, so the Gemara says like this. Okay. If that was the only point, that who would the claim of Rabbi Akiva's claim of how could you think of desecrating the body work against? And it would work against the heirs, but it wouldn't work against the lukuchos. The Gemara says that doesn't prove the case. Here's how that claim could work against the lukuchos. The default is that you, even though you're not brothers and you're not relatives, you shouldn't go ahead desecrating bodies and digging them up. And number 2, you'll say, okay, we can't do it for no purpose, but we paid money, we want our land. And again, remember, it's not like they're actually losing money. They would get their money back if it was not a valid sale. Okay, but once again, a pretty low threshold here should allow you to do nivel hameis. Were you to say that? Big deal. It's not going to prove anything anyway. Okay, so it could be the claim could have come from either side. We can't really prove it. Okay, but here was an interesting parallel, and again, the question is, you've got a mekuyim shtar, but they're saying something like, oh, but he was a shchimir. Oh, but he was a kata. Okay, and will that be believed against the mekuyim shtar, and then the burden of proof is a motzi mechaver lavaraya, or will it not be believed, and the only thing you would have to do is to do a kiyum shtar? Okay, but Michael asks the absolute right question, which is, what type of claim, really after a mekuyim shtar, you can make a claim that effectively, vitiates the shtar, shchimira, katan, etc. What's the logic? At least by shchimira, we said the fact that he gifted away all of his property, maybe makes it a reasonable possibility, right? What types of things would we be willing to consider or not? I mean, clearly this kid he died, he was a young kid when he died, right? If somebody died at the age of 30 and somebody said, oh yeah, he sold it to me when he was a minor, right? Presumably there was no date or whatever, right? But it's a good question, right? If it's a mekuyim shtar, what types of claims would be believed according to this approach? This approach says it's a mekuyim shtar, but there could still possibly be a suffix when you raise the possibility of shchiv.
So then against this whole, which was very interesting, this whole nivel mate thing is, regardless of whether it's nivel mate, you're not going to prove anything digging up anyway. Exactly,
that's the answer. Maybe you would, maybe nivel waste would be set aside because of the money issue, but nevertheless, it's not going to prove anything, so we can't do it. which again shows that
That's
to
it.
allow nivel amace is not a very high threshold needed in order to allow nivel amace.
But this doesn't even mean that he's buried or not. Meaning even it's an achamita. You could still be like not even buried, right?
You think nivel amace just by looking at the body?
No. I'm saying that assuming you stand at the achamita means forget about.
Oh yeah,
sure,
that would be
that'd be even
right,
buried.
correct, and that comes up in Gemara about identifying bodies and testifying that somebody is dead to allow the wife to marry, etc. That's a more general issue. That's correct. It's not just because he's buried. Okay, so now the Gemara says like this: Shal Rabbi Shimon Lakish Rabbi Yochanan. So Shimon Rish Lakish, who interpreted, who said the debate was about Kim Star, asked Rabbi Yochanan, who said the debate was about Adim here. Zush Shenuya b'Mishnah Bar Kapara. This is what started in the Mishnah Bar Kapara. Harei Shaya Ochel Sadeh Uba b'Cheskas Shishalo. So somebody went ahead and was eating in a field. Michael before mentioned Shnei Chazaka. This is sort of what it's reminding us. So somebody was, harvesting a field. Everybody assumed it was his. The Karal Avachad air. Lomar Lomar Shalihi. Somebody said, "What are you doing in that field? That's my field." Votzi said, "Oh no!" And this one took out his star. You don't need a chazaka. He had a star. Lomar Shemachartali. Ocean Asatali Matana. He said, "Yeah. What do you mean? What am I doing in it? Here's my star. You sold it to me." If the person says, "Any makia b'shtar zemi olam," says, "I never saw that in my life. That must be a forgery." So that's a claim of mizuyaf, an implicit claim of mizuyaf. What do you have to do with to win? Yiskayim ashtar b'chotamav. Right? Get the signers to identify it, or people to say they recognize the signatures, and then you win. That's a claim that it's mezuyaf. Im amar shtar pasimhu shtar amana. This is a document of appeasement, or it's a trust document. What does that mean? I gave you the document because you did buy it. But even though I should never give you the document until you've paid me for it, okay? I trusted you. I trusted you with the document with the deed even before you paid me. Just goes to just goes to serve me right that I trusted you, and here you are. You're now denying that. You're now denying it. Okay, so that's what he said. So that's similar to shchivera, or it's similar to our brother was a katan. Yes, I admit to the star. But here's the context, which effectively makes the star void. Okay, I was a shchiv meirah. Our brother was a katan. The star was written, but you never paid me for the field. All right, so that's a type of a claim which would effectively void the star. Is it believed? Okay. So what does it say? Shemacharti lucha v'lo nasat li damim. Im yesh edim halach achar edim. V'im lav halach achar star. If there are witnesses that show that it basically was, that it was to back up his claim, then obviously you trust the witnesses. But if there are not witnesses to back up his claim, okay.
I'm sorry, how do you have witnesses that you didn't give money?
I don't know. It could be witnesses like, "Here I am. I'm giving you this star, but I want the witnesses to know that you haven't paid me yet," and so on. Okay. Now, then you would have a claim like, maybe I didn't pay you then, but I paid you later, and how would you prove that? All right, I don't know, but at least it would show that the star no longer is proof that the field that it was sold, and paid for. Right. Once the witnesses say that,
meaning at the time of drawing up the star, no money was exchanged.
Exactly. And right. So it was clear. Okay. So if you can prove that with witnesses, then the star loses its potency as proof of ownership. But otherwise, okay, the star continues to prove it.
Sorry, what was star pasim again?
Pasim means like to appease you. But again, it was written, the way the Rashbam says is maybe I was giving it to you so that you could show your creditors that it would make it look that you were wealthy. But it was I never really sold it to you.
Sham.
It was all for sham. It was all for show. Okay. So here seems to be a perfect case where is that, that it's a claim like shchiv meirah or a katan or whatever, and the basic point is that claim does you no good, okay? And the star, right? So that seems to be a pretty good proof for the Reish Lakish side. This column says claims like shchiv meirah or whatever are fundamentally believed, at least according to the Chachamim, and create a suffix and create hamotzi mechaver olav haraya, right? And here you see this type of a claim is not believed.
Why are you allowed to do star pasim at all? That just seems
okay. So that's you're not. So all right, which is part of the reason why the claim might be worse than a shchiv meirah, because you might not be allowed. You probably might not be allowed to do it in the first place. But let's see what the Gemara says. So would you say that this is Rabbi Meir and not the. Oh, so wait. What? Hold on. Let me get this straight.
That's the answer.
1 minute. Hold on a minute. This is Rabbi Yochanan said. According to Rabbi Shlokish, I guess his point is, why does it say halacha hashtar? This is a question even according to Rabbi Shlokish, right? Because why are you halacha hashtar, right? Why are you going by the star, and why don't you have to be mekayim the star, right? Even according to the Rabbi Shlokish side of the board, right? Okay, so the claim should at least still be believed as long as the star is not mekuyim. Right? Everybody get it? Meaning this says the claim would be believed even against a star mekuyim, create a suffix. This would say that those types of claims of shchiv mirah, right, according to the Chamim, would be believed until you're mekayim the star. And this seems to say it's not believed at all. The star remains valid and you don't even have to be mekayim it. So the only box that would fit here would be Rabbi Meir, right? You made a claim, right? Why isn't that claim believed? Migo de Mizuyaf. So would we say that this is Rabbi Meir and not the Chachamim? She says, "Lema Rabbi Meir hidamar moda b'shar sheksavo ina tzarich l'kaimo v'lo rabbanan." Okay, people get it.
So sorry, this is Rishum. This is Rish Lakish
asking Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, so Rish Lakish asks Rabbi Yochanan and says, "Look, this point here is that this claim is not believed. That, in a way, proves number one against this whole column." Right, which should say these types of claims are, let's say, believed even with a shtar mekuyam. But even here, why is it? It's believed even without being mekayim the shtar. So that seems to locate us totally here within Rabbi Meir, that even a shtar eino mekuyam, right? Those types of claims are not believed. Is that who that's going like? So Amar Lei, so he said back to him, no, shani omer divrei hakol moda b'shar sheksavo eino tzarich l'kaimo. I think that everybody agrees, right? Remember, this was also debated back here about moda b'shtar sheksavo, Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim. I say that everybody agrees to that idea, that if a star, you do not need to validate it, unless it's actively claimed as mizuyaf. So this claim here that the star was like, it was only a fake, it was only whatever, you do not need to be mekayim it, and everybody agrees that that moda b'shar sheksavo eino tzarich l'kaimo. Okay, what do you mean though? Don't they debate that explicitly in this case?
In every case. I mean,
well, let's just read the one more line. Hold on. So the Gemara says like this. How about this exact debate? Whether this guy is able to say parati or not. That's exactly the debate about whether moda b'shar sheksavo, are these claims believed against a shtar eino mekuyam? So the Gemara says what it said before. Okay, now here the reason that the side that says that parati is believed is only because the witnesses themselves have challenged the validity of the star, right? Remember, we pointed that out before. In this case, where the witnesses challenge the validity of the star, maybe this type of time, they say ketanim or psulim or whatever, maybe that type of a case, this is believed. But in general, as long as you don't say mizuyaf, any claim you make is not believed. The star is considered mekuyam. Okay, so this thing that we said, the star is 100% valid until you actually claim mezuyaf, right? And any counterclaim is not believed other than mezuyaf, which would require kiyum. He says everybody would agree to that. This case is an exception. So going back to our case here, our case where the guy said, but you never paid me for it. Yeah, but it was a fake or whatever. Even if it's a star is not mekuyam, that counterclaim is not believed. A counterclaim against a star is not believed, even a star eino mekuyam, unless you actually claim it was a forgery, okay? So now that we've got that, and that explains why the guy who says that it was a shtar, a mana, whatever, you never paid me, if he loses, even against a shtar eino mekuyam.
So he has to say it's a forgery then.
Yeah, he would have to say it's a forgery, or else he's going to lose, even against a shtar eino mekuyam, because everybody agrees, moda b'shtar sheksavo eino tzarich l'chaimo. The question is going to be, so what's the debate here? How do you now explain this debate? right? We can't explain that they're debating motive b'shar sheksavo tzarich l'kaimo, right? So we're going to have to say they're debating this question. So to some degree, we're going to have to say that somehow the claim of shchiv meira is a more believable claim and creates a suffix more than other types of counterclaims like shtar pasim and shtar amana, right? And that was the issue raised, okay? But that shows you how Reb Yochanan winds up being into this column, because Reb Yochanan says, I can't say they're debating motive b'shtar sheksavo. I always say that as even a shtar ein mekuyim wins unless it's ein mezuyah. So I have to say they're debating in this column. Okay, and somehow the claim that it's a shchiv meira, that does create a legitimate suffix in the shtar, and that's how Rabbi Yochanan winds up being this column, and Reish Lakish is this column.
We have to get
okay.
Reish Lakish on there.
I know. So anyway, so we're going to have to still figure it all out, but at least we're pretty much where we started. That Rabbi Yochanan interprets it this way, Reish Lakish this way, and now it's even clearer that Rabbi Yochanan says even a shtar ein mekuyim effectively is always mekuyim according to everybody, whether Rabbi Meir, whether the Chachamim. Okay, motiv b'shar sheksavo ein tzarich l'kaimo, and the only way to explain this debate here is that the claim of shchiv meira is enough to create a suffix, and that's where they might be debating. But it's not about kiyum shtaros. All right, that was pretty challenging.
Do you mind getting
Continue tomorrow. What?
Just so we